What if the moment you want to give up the most is actually the moment you're closest to becoming your strongest self? Could 12 ancient Stoic lessons be the turning point that helps you overcome pain, self-doubt, and fear, and emerge stronger? This isn't just a video. It's a blueprint to rebuild your mind, your habits, and your life from the inside out. There are mornings when you wake up with a heavy heart, when everything seems to be against you. There are times when failures make you doubt your self-worth. Yet, it is in that very moment when you are exhausted, alone, and on the verge of giving up that you stand at a crucial crossroads to fall once more, or to move forward with everything you have. This video is a call for you to choose the second path. We are not born with the same starting point. No one can control fate, circumstances, or luck. But there is one thing that is always in your hands: the will to rise and to continue. That is the foundation of every lasting victory. Not talent, not opportunity, but the ability to overcome yourself. Time and time again. Today's message is not for fleeting impulses. It's more than just motivation. It's your inner compass, your battle plan, and your foundation for reconstructing your spirit, brick by brick, especially in moments when you feel utterly abandoned by the world. In this video, I will share 12 lessons from Stoic philosophy principles that have helped countless generations overcome suffering and failure and rise stronger than ever. Don't miss out. Each lesson is a piece of you, of the person you are fully capable of becoming. If you are ready to embark on this journey, leave a comment with 4 words: I will not stop. And let us move forward together with one: know your inner potential. Success doesn't begin with perfect conditions. It begins within you with the realization that a power more potent than you ever imagined exists inside. The sad truth is that most of us live our lives without ever tapping into the true depths of that inner strength. We allow the outside world to define us, let the past hold us back, and allow failure to become our identity. But Stoicism, the philosophy of self-control and resilience, teaches us that you are not what has happened to you. You are what you choose to do next. You hold ultimate power, not over fate or events, but over how you interpret and respond to them. Mastering your thoughts is where strength truly begins to bloom. Marcus Aurelius. This quote is not just advice. It is the key to unlocking your potential. When you stop basing your self-worth on things beyond your control, you begin to look inward and realize that the greatest power lies in your ability to master your thoughts and actions. No one can take that away from you unless you willingly surrender it. The story of J.K. Rowling is a living testament to this idea. Before becoming one of the world's most renowned writers, she was an unemployed single mother who struggled with depression and the fear of failure. She didn't write Harry Potter out of wealth or ease, but from a deep-seated belief in herself, even when everything around her said it couldn't be done. It was precisely when all external hope had crumbled that she turned inward and discovered something indomitable: her desire and perseverance. We are no different. Sometimes it is during our darkest moments that we most clearly see the light within ourselves. When pushed to our limits, we have no choice but to discover who we truly are, and that is when our potential begins to awaken. Self-standing doesn't come from reading countless books or listening to endless lectures. It comes from having the courage to look within, to accept your imperfections, and to choose to move forward. This is not only the path to victory, but the way you redefine your life from the inside out. 2. Discover your inner motivation. Nobody can truly win if they do not know why they must enter the game. In Stoic philosophy, victory is not an explosive destination, but the steadfast perseverance practiced day after day, beginning with a very simple question: what makes you get up every morning? The answer to this question is not found in external things such as money, fame, or recognition. It lies deep within you, where the true driver awaits to be awakened. For Ian, the answer came when everything was nearly falling apart. He was once a technology engineer in a large company, living a lifestyle of convenience and stability. Yet inside he felt as though he was slowly dying. Every morning he woke not because of passion, but because of the alarm clock and the repetitiveness of his responsibilities. It was only when the company restructured and Ian was laid off, stripping away everything he had once relied on, that he was forced to confront an important question: if tomorrow I have nothing left, what do I still have that will keep me going? During that period of unemployment, Ian recalled his childhood when he was passionate about inventing, disassembling, and reassembling old machines simply to understand how they worked. He did not do it for accolades, but because of pure curiosity and passion. That was the catalyst he had forgotten, and it returned, urging him to build his own small laboratory where he developed energy recycling technology for remote communities. No one coerced him. No one made promises. It was just Ian and that inner motivation. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This saying by Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, emphasizes that if you have a reason strong enough to live, you can endure almost any hardship. When you know why you exist, every pain and every challenge becomes merely a stepping stone towards rising up. Discovering your inner drive is not an easy journey. But once you uncover what makes your heart race and compels you to live every moment to its fullest, no limits remain unbreakable. And from that point on, victory is no longer an elusive concept, but the natural outcome of a life filled with direction, purpose, and a heart that leads the way. 3. Overcome your fears. Imagine you are standing before a door. On the other side is the best version of yourself, strong, confident, and free to pursue all your dreams. But between you and that door lies an invisible wall. No one else built it except you. And its name is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. These fears are not loud, not fierce. They creep in whispering, causing you to hesitate even when you yearn to move forward. Yet the Stoic philosophy teaches that nothing is more terrifying than confining yourself within boundaries you create. To overcome fear, the first step is not to avoid it, but to acknowledge it. Fear only holds power when we fail to name it correctly. Once you dare to look directly at your fear, you can begin to untangle every knot in your mind. Ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen? Will I be able to endure and overcome it? Most of the time the answer is yes. By accepting negative emotions and acting despite fear, you are honing one of the most essential qualities of a successful achiever: courage. Not the absence of fear, but the ability to act even when fear is present. With each small daily action, by confronting these psychological barriers, you diminish their influence. You are training your mind like a Stoic warrior who does not live by emotions, but by reason and purpose. Elon Musk once said, "I feel fear, but I do it anyway." That is the spirit you need to embrace. Because on the other side of fear lies not failure but freedom from the limits you once thought were fixed. And to turn courage into concrete action, there is one indispensable element: a clear and attainable goal. In the next part, we will explore how to set goals that are not only inspiring but that also empower you to act persistently, step by step transforming your dreams into reality. Are you ready? 4. Set achievable goals. In the journey of conquering oneself, setting goals is an indispensable move. But to triumph, merely setting lofty goals is not enough. Stoicism teaches us that what lies beyond our control should not be tackled all at once, but instead by breaking the path into smaller segments and advancing with steady steps. Success in the eyes of the Stoics does not come from blind ambitions, but from consistency. In our actions, even the smallest ones, when we only see the mountain summit, we can easily become overwhelmed and lose our way. However, when we divide that summit into shorter concrete stages with clear timelines and distinct evaluation criteria, the journey becomes much more feasible and realistic. A great goal that is not broken down remains just a fleeting dream, but when it is segmented into specific parts, completing a portion each day and assessing a result every week, it gradually transforms into a vivid reality. Michael Phelps is a living testament to this philosophy. He did not simply dream of Olympic gold medals. He turned that dream into daily training sessions, specific figures regarding time, technique, speed, and even mental control. Every early morning when he woke up was part of a long-term strategy. Every refinement in his swimming technique and every session of psychological preparation for competition were small, yet very concrete steps on the path to glory. It is precisely through persistent commitment to seemingly trivial daily goals that Phelps made history, becoming the greatest athlete in Olympic history. The lesson drawn from this story is very clear. No one builds success in a single day, but if every day you do one right thing, repeating it with focus and determination, what once seemed impossible will gradually become achievable. Setting goals is not meant to burden you to the point of collapse. It is meant to guide you toward the right actions. Start with what you can do today. One step forward, but a step with purpose. And tomorrow, take another step. That is how the Stoics learned to conquer. 5. Cultivate a growth mindset. Have you ever wondered why some people collapse after a single failure, while others use that very failure to soar even higher? Why is it that in the same circumstances some people are crushed while others experience extraordinary growth? The answer lies in mindset, specifically a growth mindset, which not only determines how we perceive failure, but also shapes the entire journey of each individual's rise. A growth mindset is not an innate gift. It is a choice. The difference between those with a growth mindset and those with a fixed mindset lies in how they respond to challenges. Those with a fixed mindset believe that abilities are unchangeable, and that if they fail, it means they are not good enough. Meanwhile, those with a growth mindset understand that abilities can be developed. For them, failure is not an ending, but an essential part of the journey to growth. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." This saying is the foundation of a growth mindset. When we shift our focus from circumstances to how we confront them, we begin to take control of our own destiny. This mindset not only helps us stand firm in the face of adversity, but also transforms adversity into the motivation to advance further. Thomas Edison's story is a vivid example. He failed thousands of times in his quest to invent the light bulb. Yet Edison never regarded these setbacks as mistakes in a negative sense. He once said that he was merely finding thousands of ways that did not work. It was his persistence coupled with his belief that he could learn from every stumble that led him to achieve feats that changed the world. A growth mindset is the ability to look at oneself with honesty, recognizing that we are not perfect and that is perfectly fine as long as we continue to progress. When you learn to welcome failure as a part of the journey, it no longer harms you. You grow, you become stronger, and eventually you triumph not by avoiding failure but by overcoming it. 6. Manage your emotions and develop your EQ. Have you ever wondered why some people collapse after a single failure, while others use that very failure to soar even higher? Why is it that in the same circumstances some people are crushed while others experience extraordinary growth? The answer lies in mindset, specifically a growth mindset, which not only determines how we perceive failure, but also shapes the entire journey of each individual's rise. A growth mindset is not an innate gift. It is a choice. The difference between those with a growth mindset and those with a fixed mindset lies in how they respond to challenges. Those with a fixed mindset believe that abilities are unchangeable, and that if they fail, it means they are not good enough. Meanwhile, those with a growth mindset understand that abilities can be developed. For them, failure is not an ending but an essential part of the journey to growth. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This saying is the foundation of a growth mindset. When we shift our focus from circumstances to how we confront them, we begin to take control of our own destiny. This mindset not only helps us stand firm in the face of adversity, but also transforms adversity into the motivation to advance further. Thomas Edison's story is a vivid example. He failed thousands of times in his quest to invent the light bulb. Yet Edison never regarded these setbacks as mistakes in a negative sense. He once said that he was merely finding thousands of ways that did not work. It was his persistence coupled with his belief that he could learn from every stumble that led him to achieve feats that changed the world. A growth mindset is the ability to look at oneself with honesty, recognizing that we are not perfect, and that is perfectly fine, as long as we continue to progress. When you learn to welcome failure as a part of the journey, it no longer harms you. You grow, you become stronger, and eventually you triumph, not by avoiding failure, but by overcoming it. When you learn to manage your emotions and develop emotional intelligence, you hold in your hands the ultimate tool, the ability to stay calm in the midst of a storm. But remember, emotional control is only the beginning. Because after the storm comes the long road ahead, where you'll have to keep walking on your own 2 feet, even when you're exhausted, even when no one is cheering you on. This is where we step into what I believe is the stage where true resilience is forged. If you've ever felt like giving up, if you've ever fallen, if you've ever thought, "I can't do this anymore," then the next part is for you. Don't walk away just yet, because you're about to discover a set of breakthrough mindsets and strategies, the kind of secrets that will help you rise, keep going, and never quit. You've made it this far. Stay with me because what comes next is where everything changes. 7. The art of perseverance and the will to overcome. When Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles tendon during a game in 2013, many believed his career was over. But Kobe didn't give up. He walked off the court on his own, made 2 free throws with a nearly torn tendon, and then began a grueling months-long recovery process. He didn't choose to rest. He didn't choose to retreat. He chose to keep going. With the Mamba mentality, Kobe wasn't just an athlete. He was a living symbol of persistence and the will to overcome all limits. On the journey to achieving any goal, there will be moments when we feel drained, lost, or even ready to quit. Grit and perseverance aren't traits we're born with. They're skills we build day by day. Like muscles, willpower needs to be tested, challenged, and rebuilt. Followers of Stoic philosophy understand this well. Life will test you, but it's through adversity that your true character is shaped. Perseverance isn't about recklessly charging forward at all costs. It's about having the clarity to know where you're headed, why you're going there, and what makes stopping not an option. Because if your reason isn't strong enough, even the smallest obstacle can make you give up. Staying motivated over the long run is an art. One effective way is to build systems instead of relying on fleeting bursts of inspiration. Habits, discipline, and a positive environment are the three pillars that sustain resilience. Every time you repeat the right action, even a small one, you're laying the foundation for something much greater. Don't chase instant results. Fall in love with the process, because it's in the process that you grow and become stronger. Kobe wasn't born with supernatural talent. He was simply someone who kept moving forward, made no excuses, and never let himself slack off. And if you want to win in life, you have to learn to win over yourself every single day in the moments when no one is watching. Perseverance isn't glamorous, but it is the solid ground on which all greatness is built. 8. Discipline and effective time management in the journey to victory. Not just over the world, but over yourself. Discipline is not an option. It is a prerequisite. When inspiration fades, when motivation is buried under fatigue, discipline is the one thing that stays with you, pulling you forward. It is the stake driven deep into the ground during an emotional storm, keeping you grounded when everything around you is in chaos. If you truly want to turn a dream into reality, that dream must be managed like a project. And every project needs discipline as its foundational pillar. From the Stoic perspective, we are not meant to seek control over the outside world, because it is fleeting and unpredictable. The only thing we truly own is our behavior, our mindset, and how we spend our time. Discipline, then, is not a harsh, self-imposed restriction. It is the highest act of freedom when you willingly shape yourself within a framework for a goal greater than yourself. A disciplined person understands the value of every hour and every minute, and knows how to say no to short-term pleasures in order to invest in long-term meaning. To live with discipline, you don't need to become a machine, but you do need a strategy. Start by managing your time proactively rather than chasing after it once it's already gone. Scheduling isn't about suffocating creativity. It's about clearing a path for it. When everything is organized, your mind is lighter, no longer dragged down by chaos and procrastination. Discipline also lies in the ability to focus deeply, to give your full attention to one task at a time, instead of being torn apart by the distractions of the modern world. Success doesn't come from a single big push in a moment of inspiration. It comes from hundreds of small choices made consistently with commitment. And if you look closely at anyone who has achieved something truly great, from Marcus Aurelius to Elon Musk, you'll see that what they had in common wasn't genius, but an unshakable discipline in how they faced each day. When you are disciplined with your time, you send a powerful message that you respect your life, that you believe in what you're doing, and that you have the resolve to see it through. That's how you learn to win day by day, hour by hour. 9. Build relationships and a support network. On the journey toward success, many people believe that sheer willpower alone is enough. They think victory is the result of the solitary effort of grit and self-reliance. But that's an isolating illusion. True strength doesn't come solely from within. It is also nurtured and amplified through the relationships we build around us. Human connection, that's an essential part of any path towards sustainable self-growth. Stoic philosophy, while emphasizing self-control and inner resilience, never dismisses the role of community. Epictetus once said, "You are a citizen of the universe, and a part of it. Not a subordinate, but a principal part." This reflects the idea that we don't exist in isolation. We are part of something larger, a community, a society, a universe. Epictetus underscores both responsibility and connection between the individual and the greater whole. In real life, a clear example of this principle is Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group. Branson is not only a bold entrepreneur, but also someone who deeply understands the power of people in driving success. He has always maintained strong, lasting relationships with employees, partners, and communities. It is this trust, connection, and support from his network that helped him push through challenging times and laid a solid foundation for building a diversified business empire. His success was never a solo triumph. It was a symphony of trust, collaboration, and meaningful human connection. In an age where everyone seems to be chasing personal achievements, it's easy to overlook the value of sincere advice, timely support, or even just the quiet presence of someone in our lives. Those seemingly small things can become the decisive force in our most critical moments. So, if you truly want to win, not just once, but throughout the journey, build a community. Surround yourself with a network of companions who support, inspire, and walk alongside you. Learn to give sincerely so you can receive something even greater in return. Because success isn't just a destination, it's a journey. And every journey is easier when you're not walking it alone. 10. Maintain balance under pressure. No one is immune to pressure. It can come from work, family, others' expectations, or even our own perfectionism. But staying balanced in the midst of chaos, keeping a clear mind under pressure, That's the mark of someone who is winning over themselves. Emotion is instinct, but mastering emotion is strength. Intense moments. The first thing a Stoic trains is not their reaction but the pause, a moment to breathe, to observe their inner world, to avoid getting swept away by the storm of anger, anxiety, or panic. In that pause, we reclaim control. Just like a captain doesn't command the waves but learns to steer the ship through them. Ariana Huffington is a powerful example of staying balanced under pressure. While running the Huffington Post, she worked herself to the point of exhaustion until one day her body collapsed. It was a wake-up call. From that moment she didn't stop, but chose to change how she moved forward. Meditation, enough sleep, and prioritizing mental well-being became the new foundation for lasting success. She didn't walk away from the summit. She chose to stay whole while standing on it. Stoicism doesn't tell us to escape pressure. It tells us to turn it into fuel. When seen the right way, pressure can sharpen our focus, train our agility, and forge a stronger mind. But to do that, we must know when to step back to see more clearly. We need discipline in resting, and we must understand this. If we collapse from exhaustion, no achievement will hold meaning. Balance isn't about standing still. It's about knowing how to adjust between pushing forward and pulling back. It's the ability to grow without being crushed by your own growth. If you've ever gone through moments where pressure felt overwhelming, share a thought in the comments. If you believe that staying centered in the storm is a skill worth mastering, leave these 4 words: I choose to stay balanced. 11. Assess yourself, reflect, and continue learning. Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, am I on the right path? In a fast-paced and unpredictable world, we often get caught up chasing goals, forgetting to pause and check in with ourselves. But in Stoic philosophy, the turning point isn't about where we're going. It's about how we're moving. That's why assess yourself, reflect, and continue learning isn't just a step in personal growth. It's the foundation of every lasting victory. Self-assessment isn't about judgment or self-punishment. It's about understanding who we truly are, both our strengths and our limits. When Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts," he wasn't encouraging self-criticism. He was calling for honest action to turn inward, to understand, to learn, and to adjust. Only when you have the courage to face yourself can you genuinely move forward. Failure in the light of Stoic thought isn't the enemy. It's a quiet teacher that shows up right when we need its lessons the most. Instead of blaming circumstances or breaking under emotion, try asking, what did I learn from this? That question alone opens a door, the door to growth and personal evolution. Reflecting on your journey doesn't just help you learn from mistakes, it helps you celebrate what you've done right. The joy that comes from small, consistent progress becomes a fuel far more powerful than praise or external validation. The journey of self-development is a cycle. Assess, learn, improve, repeating like breath. No one masters anything after a single stumble, and no one truly fails as long as they keep learning. So if you're feeling stuck, lost, or unsure whether you're really winning, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Look inward. Acknowledge what's working, what's not, and what needs to change. Then take the next step. This time with a clearer understanding of who you are. When do you usually reflect on yourself during the day? Drop a comment. Morning, evening, reflect, rise. If you also believe that self-awareness is the key to long-term success. 12. Strengthen your physical and mental strength. In Stoic philosophy, the body and the mind are not two separate entities. They are two sides of the same person. You cannot have a strong mind and a tired body, and you cannot maintain a healthy body if your spirit is rotting with anxiety, anger, and self-doubt. That's why if you want to win, not just for a moment but throughout the long journey of life, you must learn to train both physical strength and mental resilience. Exercise is not just about improving appearance or burning calories. It is an act of discipline. It is a declaration to yourself. I am in control. Every drop of sweat that falls is a small step toward becoming steadier. Not only physically but mentally. And when the body is trained regularly, the mind becomes clearer. You'll find yourself less stressed, less reactive, and more energized to face daily pressure. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is living proof of this connection. Before the spotlight, he went through poverty, injury, and unemployment after his football career ended. But instead of giving up, he turned inward. He started over in the gym. In every grueling workout, he forged his willpower. Through the repetition of discipline, he rebuilt his confidence over time. It was that hard work, consistency, and relentless care for both his body and mind that helped him break through what once seemed impossible. Not only becoming a fitness icon, but also a global symbol of mental strength and inspiration. You don't have to be an athlete to follow his path. Just start small. Wake up a bit earlier. Go for a daily walk. Put your phone down and take 10 minutes to meditate. Each small action is a statement that you're showing up for yourself and pushing forward. Training the body is how you teach the mind to be strong. And when the mind is strong, no challenge is too great. This is the essence of Stoicism. Victory from within. You've just completed a journey into your inner power where limitless potential is waiting to be awakened. Along the way, we've reflected on key milestones: recognizing your self-worth, uncovering your true motivation, facing your fears, setting clear goals, building a positive mindset, and developing mental resilience. But that's not all. You've also tapped into essential foundations like self-discipline and effective time management, non-negotiables for building lasting success. Always remember, every small step forward is a victory. And with persistence and self-control, you can absolutely break through every limit you've ever placed on yourself. Now it's your turn. What do you think is the biggest barrier that holds people back from moving forward? A. Fear of failure. B. Lack of clear goals. C. Lack of discipline. D. All of the above. Drop your answer in the comments below. If this video inspired you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss any of the valuable content coming next. Your next video is waiting at the end. Keep going and continue your journey of self-growth right now.